Marketing Show, where we share tips, strategies, success stories, all about how to help you build your automatic marketing machine, generate more leads, more clients. Everybody wants more leads and more clients. I'm Danny Decker here with Daniel Bowden. And Daniel, let's talk some marketing today. I think you had a topic that we were going to get into. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so today I want to talk about why a multi-channel marketing approach is a good thing, why you need to have different parts of your marketing to help you work together.
Love it. So for those that are new to the world of marketing, what do you even mean by multi-channel marketing? Let's start there.
Yeah, so there's different ways that you can put out your message. There's Facebook ads, there's organic social media, there's email marketing, there's Google ads. There's obviously many different channels that you can use, and we're just going to talk about why and how these can work together.
Yeah, no, I think that is such an important topic. I think for a few different reasons. And I think the first thing is it usually takes more than one interaction with a business or a brand before the message starts to sink in. And so if you are advertising in multiple channels, you just have the opportunity to create a lot more touch points. So, you mentioned some of the big ones like Facebook, but also email marketing, also Google, right? When you just start showing up in all of these different formats, your message has a much higher likelihood of sinking in.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I guess for me, the second big reason why it's like super valuable is because what happens when one of them goes away?
Yep.
Right? Like, what if you have built this whole business model around Google Ads and then Google shifts their model, or sometimes Google bans advertisers, right? Like we have, we're always concerned about that on the Facebook side, since that's where we do a lot of our work. But Google does that too, where just randomly, seemingly for no reason, they'll deactivate your account. And so it's like if your entire business and your entire flow of new clients and customers is all on Google and then that goes away, well, like you're kind of screwed immediately, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just a kind of another huge reason why it's so important to have multiple channels. So when you think about multi-channel marketing, what are some of the channels that you've seen the most success with or get the most excited about? Like what channels should our listeners be thinking about?
Yeah. And going back to what you just said before I answer that, I think it was you that I heard say like, one is the worst number in business.
Yeah.
Like, because if something happens to that one, then like, what are you left with?
And that's something I learned from a mentor of mine too. And that's beyond just marketing. But I think the quote is the worst number in business is one.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you have one computer and the computer dies, you're screwed. If you have one key employee and the employee, gets sick or goes away or whatever, then you're in a bad place. If you have one source of leads and that goes away, you're in a bad place.
Right.
So definitely, that's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the channels that people can be on when it comes to their marketing? I mentioned they can just have an organic social media presence in general. I think that's pretty common these days. Like people know that they should be on. Maybe they don't know the importance of it, and they just think they should be posting. But organic is a good place to be posting like educational and informational content for your audience. They're not going to always see it, but if you can remain consistent at that, that is going to just add value to your brand whenever people do go looking on your page or just happen to come across your page for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think Gary Vee talks about it as like jab, jab, right hook, right? Where it's like, you've got your content where you're just giving value, you're engaging people, you're entertaining people, you're educating people, and that's great. And then, but also it's great to pair that with a Facebook ad strategy or Google strategy where you're also really driving into lead generation.
Yeah.
So most of the businesses and the clients that we work with tend to be in the professional services space. We work with a lot of law firms, some CPAs, mostly in the professional services space. And, so when I think about channels that they should be advertising, organic, Facebook and LinkedIn is huge, right? And that's about staying in touch with your referral sources too, right? And that's one of the really smart ways to use organic social media, staying in front of your referral sources, getting more referrals. Facebook ads, super valuable. Obviously, that's kind of our specialty.
Yep.
It's a great lead generation channel. And, we've talked, and I think we're going to talk in a future episode, kind of there's multiple ways to use Facebook for lead generation. But typically Facebook leads tend to be like earlier in the buying cycle, so it's a great place to reach people kind of when they're earlier in the buying cycle versus like Google. When someone goes to Google and searches for a divorce lawyer, like they're looking to call somebody and hire somebody right away.
Yep.
And so I would argue, kind of to your point, there's a lot of value in being in both of those places.
Yeah. Yeah. And to piggyback off something you mentioned earlier, just with organic social engagement is, I think, something that people don't think about as much. They think they should just post. But they kind of forget that it's social media. Like, it's supposed to be social. Like, you're supposed to interact and respond to the people that comment on your posts or on your ads even. And that's something that we do, like if we see a comment, we stress to our clients like, hey, this is someone that you should follow up with. You should reach out to them because they're obviously showing interest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really important. Like it's not, it's something you have to keep in mind when you're posting organically too is, if you're just out there posting content every single day, cool. But if nobody's engaging with the content, you honestly should probably slow down and basically say to yourself, what can I change to actually get people to start engaging with this?
Yeah.
Because that's where the real value comes in. The one other channel we haven't talked about, but I think is super important to sort of pair with all this stuff is email.
Yep.
Right? So talk a little bit about how email marketing can sync up with and support, some of this more frontward facing like Facebook ads and LinkedIn and Google ads and things like that.
Yeah. So with email, there's a couple different approaches you can take. You can kind of have a regular, consistent email newsletter that you should just be sending out about your company and the services you provide, and an educational piece in that email newsletter as well, maybe monthly, maybe weekly, who knows, whatever works best for your business. But then at the same time, if you're using Facebook ads, if you're using Google ads, you should use that email marketing to follow up with them, to get them to book a consultation with you, to get them to sign up for your services. And using both of those elements of email marketing is probably going to be what's best.
Love it. No, I think that's really smart. So bottom line here, guys, it's great to be on Facebook ads. It's great to be on Google. But really what I think we want you to take away from this is you want to be more than one place.
Yeah.
You want to have an organic strategy. You don't necessarily have to do everything that we've talked about. Maybe you don't want to do Facebook ads. Maybe you don't need to do Google ads. But really stay away from just honing in on one source of marketing and leads. I think that's the main message. Number one, it's a security thing, right? Like if your main source of leads goes away, you're kind of screwed. So have multiple happening. And two, when your target market starts seeing you multiple different channels, they start saying things like, wow, you guys are everywhere.
Yep.
And that's how you really kind of exponentially drive results.
Yeah. And at the same time, you don't want to be in too many places where you can't put in the right amount of work that's needed.
That's a great point too. Spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And I think we would probably both agree, you're better off, don't start all 5 new marketing channels all at once. Start number 1, get into a good place with that, figure it out, and then add the second one on. That's a really great point. Spreading yourself too thin isn't helping you.
Right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Daniel, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week on the Automatic Marketing Show.